Welcome to some journal tips. This video covers ideas on how you can start a spread, layout tips, my paper collection, DIY stickers, and essential journaling skills. I try to include as many demonstrations as I could to help contextualize these tips, so I hope you find some of them useful. Timestamps are included in the description. Now let's get on to some tips. You don't have to plan every single aspect of your spread because, let's be honest here, it's really restrictive and most of the time the best creativity arises from going with the flow anyways. But to ensure that the elements of a spread complement each other well, I like to draft a mental plan of what I aim to do with the spread. Some questions that you can ask yourself if you don't know where to start are: what pictures am I going to use? Are there any stationary items that I'm really dying to try out? What color do I want to use for the spread, or what color do I use the least frequently? What style should I go for? Is there a technique or a part of a spread that I've recently seen somewhere that I really want to try out? Then you can base the ideas of your spread around these considerations. Usually begin with the pictures or the main element that I want to center my spread around. For example, for my May bullet journal, it was this watercolor drawing of azalea flowers. I then look through my pens, paper collection, stickers, washi tape, all that fun stuff, and pick out some elements that I think would complement these flowers well. I recently bought these doilies since I've seen them in so many spreads and I've been dying to try them out, so I really wanted to incorporate them in this spread. And while scrolling on Instagram as one does, I saw this anime journal spread by 𝘴𝑒 and I loved the tracing paper with sparkles in it, so I took inspiration from that. And of course, with lots of trial and error and spontaneous bursts of inspiration, this is how the spread was born. The simplest of all my layout tips is to try to have a balance of space, size, texture, and color. In this spread, my color scheme was green and pink, so I try to have a balance of both green elements and pink elements. Try to have a balance of different sizes that complement each other. The trick is to experiment with not only the large and the small, but the sizes in between as well, which will help to tie the spread all together. This also applies to the space of a spread as well. If there are many large elements on one side of the page compared to another, rearrange some to the other side to create more balance and fill in the space. And to make your spread extra, experiment with different textures. For example, in this spread, I have a balance of both opaque and transparent elements. As an avid journal peep, we all have encountered and fell into the corner problem. It is essentially a style of layout where the elements of your page are consistently stuck into the corners, thereby making your spread look restricted. This can occur on a larger scale, such as in this example, where the large design elements, such as these ripped pieces of paper and pictures, are all stuck neatly towards the edges and corners of the page. Moreover, this can occur on a smaller scale, such as these stickers and washi tapes, which are stuck into the corners of the picture. The corner problem is not a bad thing at all, but it can create a lot of restrictions and lose the liveliness that a spread can have. Using the exact elements of the spread, we can move them around the corner problem to create a more open and lively spread, which I think holds a little bit more pizzazz. The main way I'm doing this is by experimenting with angles. As you can see in this clip here, I'm experimenting with turning the picture to different angles and leaving the washi tape at an angle, and as well as the ripped paper at an angle, and through these angles it just makes the page look a little bit more fancy. Once again, experiment with a balance of textures, colors, shapes, and sizes. One of the top tips that I have is to create effective layering by experimenting with angles. In this Wusong spread particularly, I used many different angles behind this picture. as I'm demonstrating now. Leaving elements at different angles gives your spread a little bit more interest. Another top tip of mine is to overlap. To overlap effectively, at least a little bit of that element needs to be seen in each layer. Experimenting with different shapes and textures is really crucial when layering effectively. Next tip is the cliche less is more. It may be difficult at times to realize when to stop, especially if you're using deco and a lot of stickers because it's just so addicting. But a simple way to realize this is to look at something else, then come back to your spread and take a step back and ask yourself, is the deco too distracting from the object you're decorating? For example, I randomly made this spread while watching a J stream, and as you can see, I definitely got a little bit too carried away with the deco stickers. There are too many small and thin stickers which act as a distraction and draw your eyes away from the drawing. On the other hand, with this other J spread that I made, the deco elements complement the photo much better. When I'm beginning the layout process, I like to move my elements around and try out different layouts first before sticking them in, and every time I find something that I think looks good, I would take a picture of it. Once I found something that I'm really happy with, I would use that as the base and take a picture of it again. Then I would use the picture as a reference to stick the elements on. Then for smaller features such as washi tape or stickers, I'll just trial and error them and move them around until I find something I like. My ultimate journal hack is to keep a collection of recycled paper or cutouts. If you find a cute business card, stick it in your collection. If you buy a new package online and it has really cute wrapping paper, add it in your collection as well. If you went to buy groceries, add the receipt into your collection too. Over time, I've collected many different stickers, scrap papers from school projects, tags, and all sorts of things that I constantly use in all of my spreads. Oh, and a bonus, it's more cost-effective and sustainable too. So for example, in this spread, most of the layering is from this paper collection. This translucent film is from the packaging around an ice mochi. This glittery bit underneath is from a garland. This music sheet is from a random music book that I have. This little bit here is from a paper that comes in a little cookie tin. And this green bit here is from the packaging of a pin. I also have this really large accordion folder with scrap paper, which I always use for calligraphy, and also it's to store larger bits of paper that won't fit. For those cute colored dots that I always see everywhere, a hack is to buy cheap white paper dots stickers from the office supply section and then color them in with whatever color that you choose. Alcohol markers have the best effect, but I mostly have water-based and they work perfectly fine too. And for those colored rings, I like to use these medium-sized dots and use a hole puncher like so. For more detailed stickers such as confetti ribbons, you can use these large box labels to draw and then cut them out too. Or you can find a template online and draw them online yourself and print them out as well. This spread right here was made entirely of things from my paper collection, featuring some DIY stickers as well. Recently, I've received a comment from a really kind viewer which inspired me to make this segment of the video. And of course, the key thing is practice, practice, practice. No matter how cliche it sounds, it is true, and as Ling Ling says, you gotta practice 40 hours a day to master a skill, no? But one key aspect of effective practice is by learning the proper skills. There are some practical tips that I have that you can try to help improve your cutting skills. Firstly, the main tip is to start off slow. By cutting slowly in the beginning, this will help you to gain control of the paper and make sure that you're cutting in straight, even lines. When I first begin cutting, I like to mentally map out a border around the object if you want a border and try to stick to that length. Here, I'm just demonstrating with a few dotted lines of what my brain maps out when I'm cutting the paper. The third tip is to experiment with how you hold your scissors and paper to find the position that is the most comfortable for you and gives you the most control. Personally, I like to hold my paper like so it stays flat as I cut it. What helps me to gain a lot of control over the paper is by constantly turning the paper in a smooth motion when cutting. This helps me to have smoother lines, particularly when cutting around corners. In addition to moving your paper around a lot, to help get your corners smoother, try to cut them in one stroke. To do this, when I'm cutting an element, I try to split it up into many different sections. Try to find a pen or pencil that writes smoothly without skipping or splashing ink everywhere, as well as having little smear. Even if your handwriting may not be the neatest, finding the right pen for you will make your spread much neater and cleaner. The pen that I was using in the video was a �ㄚ𝑒𝑏𝑙𝑠igno DX size 0.38 in the color black. I also love to use fine liners when writing because they're just so smooth. I currently like to use the Staedtler pigment liner size 0.3. I hope you all enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Let me know if you enjoy these journal videos by liking this video. Have a great day, afternoon, or evening. Pop!